We begin at the beginning. Charles Osgood Wood was born here in New York City in 1933. He was joined just shy of a year later by his baby sister, Mary Ann, and together they shared a childhood of simple pleasures. Summers meant happy times at the grandparents' home in Massachusetts, where they whiled away the long days fishing and flying kites. Back in New York, Charlie and Mary Ann shared a room in a small rental apartment, and Charlie began his school days at Our Lady of Refuge in the Bronx. That all changed in early 1942 when Charlie's father, a textile salesman, was transferred from New York to Baltimore. In ways large and small, the best was yet to come. In 2004, Charles Osgood returned to Baltimore to recollect his childhood. And as you're about to discover, no one tells the story about those early years better than Charlie himself.
You leave the Pennsylvania station about 3:45. Read a magazine and then you're in Baltimore.
Baltimore, Maryland, birthplace of the great Babe Ruth and of the Star-Spangled Banner. Edgar Allan Poe lived here, and so did this young man, Charles Osgood Wood. The year was 1942. I was 9 years old. Like many 9-year-old boys, I was in love with baseball and radio and the world around me.
Lucky Strike Green has gone to war.
What a world it was back then. A world at war. A world of rationing and air raid drills and victory gardens. All of which seemed wonderfully romantic to a 9-year-old boy dreaming of the universe beyond Baltimore.
Here's mail call, selected by fighting men.
I can still see that boy in my mind's eye, blissfully happy in that terrible time, as only a 9-year-old can be.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin. The Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor by air.
On January 2nd, a few days before I turned 9, the Japanese took Manila, and sadly I had to pin a tiny Japanese flag to the big map I had tacked to my bedroom wall.
Army, Navy, and Marine planes surprise a Jap invasion force.
It would be June 4th, the date of America's great victory in the Battle of Midway, before I could happily pin up an American flag. Did I mention that I loved baseball? The Orioles then were not the Orioles of today. In those days, they were a struggling AAA team that often played AA ball. I loved them anyway, especially when my father would take me out to the ballpark to see the games.
Keep smiling through.
In Baltimore in 1942, there were white wooden houses with big front porches and grand white stoops, many of them still standing, along with the Bromo-Seltzer Tower. It looked Italian, with a distinctly American twist. In those days, there was a 40-foot-tall Bromo-Seltzer bottle on top of the tower. In Manhattan, a college boy would meet his date under the Biltmore clock. In Baltimore, they'd meet under the Fizz. In 1942, milk was delivered in bottles. The mail was delivered twice a day, and that boy named Charlie Wood had a paper route. When I was delivering the Baltimore Sun, you'd have a stack of them held together by a strap. Pull one out as you approach the customer. Fold it into the throwing position. And this is where accuracy in journalism really comes in. Try not to get it in the bushes or on the roof. That's about right. My best boyhood pal was a girl, my slightly younger sister, Mary Ann, who followed the Orioles and the war and loved radio just as much as I did. Well, these street lights up and down here.
Yes, with
were
gas lights.
lights.
Yes, they were.
On an April day, as misty as my boyhood memories, Mary Ann and I visited our old house on Edgewood Road. I don't think we had one of those dishes on the roof.
No, we didn't. Got good radio signals, though. Very good radio.
The FBI in peace.
Radio was my window on the world, a world unto itself, a world more fantastic and more real than the world I saw every day in Baltimore.
A fiery horse for the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty hi-yo silver.
The Lone Ranger.
Is there anything that you haven't got your finger in? Yes, a wedding ring. A wedding ring.
And Edgar Bergen, the only ventriloquist ever to succeed on radio.
Shadow knows.
I even knew what the Shadow looked like, and he was invisible. American radio of the 1940s had a profound influence on me. It's the reason I'm doing what I do today instead of playing the organ at a skating rink. I could imagine no career more delightful, except perhaps to play shortstop for the Orioles. That dream was a little unrealistic, though. I was afraid of ground balls.
THRIVO, Thrivo Dog Food.
In those golden days of radio, I never minded the intrusions of sponsors. The commercials were entertaining. Marianne and I both loved them.
If you want a peppy pup, then you better hurry up. I Thrivo for him.
I took piano lessons at the Peabody Institute, an august institution that's still there in Baltimore, newly refurbished and busier than ever. Director Robert Sirota had a surprise for me.
And we even actually have your report card. Charles Osgood, 3504 Edgewood Road.
That was what
it says that you took 4 terms of piano satisfactorily.
I'm just absolutely stunned that you still have a piece of paper with my name on it. I still remember the song I played at my recital, The Happy Farmer, which I almost didn't get to perform when they forgot to call my name.
With someone like you, a pal so good and true.
In the evening, our family would gather around the piano at the house on Edgewood Road to sing our favorite songs. That was what families did in 1942, with the shades drawn and the lights dimmed in the midst of a terrible war.
Build a sweet little nest.
For a few minutes, we'd let the rest of the world go by.
And let the rest of the world go